Hey everyone, welcome back to Visually Hidden Selects. Today we're going to be talking about Planet of the Apes from 1968, directed by Franklin J. Shaffner. This film and its significance is so ingrained in our culture that it's almost difficult to talk about without spoiling it. I'm going to do my best for those of you who have not seen it to just talk about its merits and not give away anything, which coincidentally 20th Century Fox did on their 1998 reissue. This film is also based on a book of the same name, written by Pierre Boulle. The film takes a slightly different path from the novel. In the novel, we see a more advanced civilization of apes and their culture, and the film presents it in more of a not so much primal, but let's just say medieval setting. There are some other significant differences that I won't go into because we're talking about the film and not the book. So if you're curious, Planet of the Apes, Pierre Boulle, check it out. The film was made in 1968 and it stars Charlton Heston as Commander George Taylor. He is an astronaut on a mission in deep space. He has a small crew with him. They're in a ship traveling at the speed of light, trying to reach other civilizations, and ultimately they crash land on this deserted planet. Or is it? As they explore the landscape looking for food and shelter and civilization, they come across a tribe of primitive people, and they feel, oh, well, we're going to be ruling this planet in a few weeks because we know all this great stuff that can help them out. And that's when the apes show up. And you can kind of guess where it goes from there. But the screenplay was written by Rod Serling from The Twilight Zone. One of the most significant things about this film is its approach to contemporary life, specifically within America. There's a lot of political commentary embedded in this film. In 1968, of course, we were smack in the middle of the civil rights movement. There are themes that are touched upon within the story, the class structure among the apes, their role over the humans. It touches on a lot of things that were going on within our country and within our civilization, but it masks it in this sci-fi setting. That's really kind of an earmark of a lot of really great science fiction. It uses allegory to tell a story that gets people thinking and gets people talking. It's almost like taking a serious issue and literally putting a mask on it to disguise it, that allows people to maybe see it in a different way. Not so much find it entertaining, although it is entertaining, but they're using entertainment to penetrate maybe other people's belief systems or politics or agendas. The character that Charlton Heston plays, George Taylor, known throughout the film simply as Taylor, he's kind of a cynical pragmatist. He's not your typical hero. He's out for himself, but at the same time, he knows what's right and what's wrong. It's kind of just fascinating to follow the character throughout his experiences in this kind of upside-down Twilight Zone-esque setting. And of course, with a successful film, they continue to make more movies, 5 of them in total. Each sequel, though, seemed to have half of the budget of the previous film, so it kind of affects both the story as well as the production quality, because again, if your budget is cut in half, you don't have the money for sets, you don't have the money for special effects, you don't have the money for all of these things, so the story has to be limited to what's available basically on the studio lot. And then quality-wise, it doesn't achieve the what you would expect from the first one. The whole series has a dystopian feel to it, and that's partially established with this film, but the subsequent films, if you go on and watch all 5 of them, it's not a happy, uplifting series. It is very entertaining, it is very thought-provoking, and it is very insightful, again, in that allegoric sci-fi way, but it is not a happy-making series. There's a lot of tragedy, a lot of high drama. This film did receive an honorary Academy Award for its makeup effects. Funny enough, you watch this movie released in 1968 and you look at the makeup effects today and they're kind of a little dated. Then you go and you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, released that same year. The apes in the beginning of that movie look real, act real, and there was no credit given to those apes over Planet of the Apes. So again, it comes down to politics. One of the more interesting aspects of this film is the score. It was composed by Jerry Goldsmith, and it was done very early in his career. He had done some television and, a few movies here and there, but it's a very unique score. It's kind of atonal. There's no real distinct melody or key that it rests in. It relies very much on percussion and kind of avant-garde instrumentation. I think he even used some ape-type noises and chants in the score as well. As I said, it's very kind of almost primitive, and the ideas we have about ape culture and about primal culture, he embeds that into the movie through the music. It's just a very unique accompaniment that fits the film very, very well. It's not even so much as a filmmaker that I enjoy this film as much as a writer. The writing in this film is very strong. The story is very well crafted. The film itself tells that story very well. It's well developed. The characters are very, very strong. The performances are very good considering they're buried under a ton of makeup. But for me, this film is really about the story. It's often imitated, but it's never equaled. Again, there's just such a rich subtext. You can take a lot from it if you're looking for it, or you can simply have a fun time watching this bizarre event of this man cast into space, landing on a planet that is inhabited by sophisticated apes, and now he, who is man, is subjugated and caged and treated like an animal. I myself had already known the kind of twist for this film going into it, simply because it is so much a part of our culture and our cinematic history. It's very difficult to avoid unless you happen to be a small child. I remember I showed this film to my son when he was about 6 or 7 years old, and he was in it, and that's probably one of the best ways to approach this film. Even if you already kind of know how it goes, if you watch it with a younger audience, it's a very great way to share an afternoon, and then you can also maybe pick up on some of their excitement as they go through this journey, because they won't see it coming. So that about does it for Planet of the Apes. Without giving too much of it away, I strongly recommend this film. It is a classic in every sense of the word, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next time.